Today we're going to go over one of my favorite exercises for burning fat, for core training, and for coordination, which is crawling. In this video, I've listed a bunch of different crawling progressions, starting from the easiest to the most complex. And this video goes along with a blog post I wrote, which I'm going to put a link in the description to that. So go ahead and read the blog post after you watch this video or before to make sure you get everything you need to know as far as the benefits of the crawling exercises and how to put them into your own personal program.
The first thing we want to do before we start working on some more difficult crawling variations is go over some stationary crawling exercises to prepare your body to be able to crawl at a higher level. So the first thing we're going to do is just work on breathing in the quadruped or crawling position. So we're going to have Sarah get into the crawling position. And all we want to make sure on this exercise is that you can maintain a good neutral spine. You don't look arched. Do a little arch for me. Yep. Or you don't look too rounded. You just look nice and flat. Your shoulders away from your ears. Your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. And from there, you're just going to take some good breaths trying to breathe into your core. You want to make sure you can breathe into your sides and your belly and your back and your core, and not only up in your shoulders and your neck. So we're looking to be able to make sure you can take some good breaths through your core before moving on to some harder stuff. From there, we're going to add some movements to this. So those are going to be our bird dog progression. So our first bird dog progression is still continuing this breathing pattern that Sarah has in this quadruped position, but she's going to start lifting and moving her arms. So she's going to inhale and then exhale, lift an arm. Return the arm back down, another inhale, exhale, move the arm, inhale, exhale, move the arm. So she's basically moving the arm on the exhale. From there, we can create more difficulty on this exercise. Instead of using the arms, we're just going to use the legs. Good, making sure that when she kicks that leg back, she's not arching her back, she's keeping a neutral spine. And keeping everything through here, keeping that neck nice and neutral, not letting her head drop down towards the ground. And then from there, we can do opposite arm and leg. And all this is just the crawling motion without crawling. And we're just doing these exercises to either get you warmed up or to make sure that you can do these exercises pain-free before you actually start to crawl.
All right, our next exercise is the baby crawl. Now that we went from crawling in place, we're gonna actually just do a basic baby crawl just to get used to crawling again, getting that reciprocal movement of the arms and legs re-patterned again. This is actually a really good low-level core exercise, shoulder exercise, hip exercise, and just a good way to revisit the crawling pattern. A lot of times we forget how to crawl and don't even realize it. And doing this exercise is a lot harder than you would think. From there, go ahead and go backwards. And this, Sarah's making this look a lot easier than it will be the first couple times you do it if you haven't crawled in a long time. You'd be surprised how hard it is to crawl backwards and even to crawl forward if it's been a while. But this is a foundational pattern that we all should have before going into high-level exercises. Exercise is taking that baby crawl to a balance beam. And this balance beam is obviously pretty short, so no one gets hurt. But the act of balancing on this beam creates an extreme demand for core, shoulder, and hip stability and good timing of the crawl. So a lot of people see this exercise and think, oh, it's going to be super simple, but then get on the beam and it's a lot more difficult than it looks. And from here you could turn around and go back, or we can go into the next progression, which is crawling backwards on the beam. Now this is an extreme brain teaser for some people, and you can see that Sarah has to think about what she's doing a little bit to start getting into this pattern. Lots of core action going on as she struggles through that. As she's trying not to fall off the beam, there's so much reflexive core training going on. This is a fantastic exercise to work on coordination and overall stability.
Once you've been through all the positions on your hands and knees, we're going to take it to the next level by going into what we call the bear crawl position. So before we do bear crawling, we're going to do some static bear holds just like we did with baby crawling when we did the bird dog. So first thing is just bear hold. I'm going to have her start in the same crawling position like the quadruped position I talked about earlier. She's just going to lift her knees an inch or two off the ground. And from there, holding that position, doing nothing but working on that good quality breathing into the core, keeping that good neck position, keeping the shoulders in a good position, making sure that the scapula aren't caving in together, but she's pushing long into the ground. If you take some good deep breaths in this position and get some big long exhales, you should definitely feel your core. Go ahead and rest for a second. So from there, we're going to add a little bit of movement to that, but we're still going to be in a stationary position. So go ahead back and do the bear position. Now all I'm going to have you do is just kind of march your hands up and down. Just little hand movement. Just enough to kind of throw her side to side, but she's trying to maintain her balance. And then you can go ahead and do the same thing with your feet. Little foot marches, and then opposite hand, opposite leg. Just an inch or two off the ground. Go ahead and rest. That's an extremely complex exercise to do. Hold that bear position, do those opposite movements, and maintain breathing all at the same time. So if you can do all those things together, you know you're ready for the actual bear crawls.
All right, our next movement is just adding actual movement to the bear position by doing a bear crawl. So everything stays the same. We're just taking small steps. I like to see the butt level with the head, or maybe slightly above the head, but you don't want to have your butt just way up in the air. Doing it this way kind of distributes the weight evenly over your shoulders, hips, and core. From there, we're going to do a backwards bear crawl, same thing as we did on the baby crawl. And then go ahead and rotate to a sideways crawl, Sarah. Nice. Back and forth. You want to do an even amount from side to side. Make sure you're keeping everything balanced. But this is another challenge, adding a lateral movement to the bear crawl. From there, bear crawl on the balance beam. So we'll have Sarah start here at the end, just like we did on our baby crawl. But this is obviously a little more challenging variation. So get in position, knees up just a couple inches, keep both feet, both hands on the beam, and make your way down. This is an extremely good way to get core training, burn some calories, burn some fat, work on shoulder stability, hip stability, core stability. You're really training just about everything in this movement. And from there, we're just going to, once again, do the backwards crawl. This should be one of the more challenging as far as coordination and stability, as you can see. Exercise is adding resistance to the bear crawl. What we're doing is we're having Sarah get into a harness, and we've attached that to a sled. Now, if you don't have harnesses and sleds, that makes sense, obviously. You could just tie a belt and a rope around your waist and tie that to a weight plate and drag that behind you as well. So simply doing the bear crawl with some resistance. This is a 60-pound sled with 50 pounds, so she's pulling 110 pounds. You want to start at a light weight and slowly start to work your way up. And this is a fantastic fat burning exercise that's also extremely safe. That's good.